My parents hired lawyers to force me to gift my $400,000 apartment to my sister for her graduation. Then I discovered why Dad was really broke. Hi everyone! Today's story will blow your mind, but really quick, if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. Channel's been a bit quiet lately, and your support keeps it all going. Let's jump in. Original post. I, 30M, need to know if I'm losing my mind here. My parents, 58M, 56F, just told me I need to gift my downtown apartment to my younger sister Sarah, 23F, as her college graduation present. Not help with a down payment. Not co-sign a lease. They want me to literally sign over the deed to my home because successful older siblings should launch younger ones into adulthood properly. Let me give you some background. I've been working in tech since I was 22. I lived with 3 roommates for years, ate ramen, and saved every penny I could. 2 years ago, I finally bought my dream apartment, a 1-bedroom in downtown with a view of the city skyline. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine. I'm still paying the mortgage, but I've built up decent equity. Sarah is graduating with a degree in marketing next month. She's always been the baby of the family. Got a car for her 16th birthday while I bought my first beater at 19 with money from working at a grocery store. Our parents paid her full college tuition while I took out loans, which I've since paid off. I love my sister, but there's always been this dynamic. Last Sunday, my parents invited me over for dinner. I thought we were celebrating Sarah's upcoming graduation. Instead, they sit me down and my dad says, "James, we need to discuss Sarah's graduation gift." I'm thinking they want me to chip in for something nice, maybe a laptop or help with first month's rent somewhere. Then my mom drops the bomb, "We think it would be wonderful if you gifted her your apartment. You're doing so well at work, you can easily get another place. This would really set her up for success." I literally laughed because I thought they were joking. They weren't. My dad pulled out his tablet and started showing me listings for studios in the suburbs, explaining how I could downsize temporarily and rebuild. My mom added that Sarah's been stressed about finding a place after graduation, and wouldn't it be nice to keep the apartment in the family? I asked if they were seriously suggesting I give away my $400,000 apartment. They said it wasn't giving away, it was investing in family and paying forward my success. When I pointed out I'm still paying the mortgage, my dad said I make enough to handle rent somewhere else plus the mortgage until we could work out the details. The kicker. Sarah was apparently already told about this plan. My mom mentioned she's been pinning furniture ideas and measuring rooms in my place during her last visit because she thought I was just being modest about the surprise. I left without finishing dinner. My parents have been texting me articles about successful people who lifted up their families and how real love means sacrifice. Sarah texted me once asking when we could talk about the timeline because she needs to know for job hunting purposes. She wants to apply to jobs near my apartment since she'll be living there. My friends think this is insane. My girlfriend is speechless. But my extended family, who my parents already told, apparently, think I'm being selfish. My aunt called me crying, saying she never thought I'd become too good for family. Am I crazy here? I worked my ass off for this place. I love my sister, but this seems absolutely insane to me. Has anyone else dealt with this level of entitlement? Update 1, 2 days later. Well, this escalated quickly. I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Your responses helped me realize I wasn't losing my mind, though my family seems determined to make me question that. After my post, I decided to text my parents and Sarah separately, stating clearly that I would not be gifting my apartment to anyone and this discussion was closed. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. Yesterday morning, my mom called me at work, something she never does. She was crying, saying Dad was so stressed about the family situation that he couldn't sleep. She begged me to come by after work to just talk things through like adults. Against my better judgment, I agreed. I arrived at 6 p.m. to find not just my parents and Sarah, but also 2 people I'd never met before. My dad introduced them as Robert and Patricia, real estate attorneys who specialize in family property transfers. I kid you not, they had a whole folder of documents prepared. Robert opened with, "James, your parents have explained the situation. We're here to make this process as smooth as possible. There are several ways to structure this gift to minimize tax implications." I interrupted and asked who hired them. My dad said he did, wanting to remove any obstacles to doing the right thing. Patricia chimed in that family property transfers are beautiful expressions of love, and they'd handled many such cases. The documents they'd prepared included a quitclaim deed transfer, a gift tax forms, or a proposed family contract, where I'd continue paying the mortgage for 1 year while Sarah settled in. A bizarre document about family legacy planning that suggested this was the first step in establishing a pattern of sibling support. I stood up to leave, but my mom blocked the door. She wasn't aggressive, just stood there crying, saying things like, "Why do you hate your sister?" and "We gave you everything growing up." Sarah finally spoke up. She'd been quiet until then, but she looked me dead in the eye and said, "James, I don't understand why you're being so difficult. You make 3 times what I'll make starting out. You can afford another place. I can't. It's math." I asked her if she seriously expected me to hand over my home. Her response, "It's not like you'd be homeless. You'd just be living somewhere more appropriate for a single guy while I start building my life. In a few years, when I'm established, we can reassess." Reassess. Like my apartment is some kind of loan she might consider paying back someday. My dad then pulled out his phone and showed me listings he'd already contacted about viewing for my next chapter. One was a 400-square-foot studio an hour outside the city. He'd told the landlord I'd likely be applying this week. That's when I lost it. I didn't yell, but I very firmly told them this was delusional. I worked nights and weekends for years to afford my down payment. I've made every mortgage payment on time. I've built my life in that neighborhood. The apartment isn't just an asset, it's my home. My mom's response, "Homes are meant to be shared with family. Your selfishness is breaking my heart." The lawyers looked uncomfortable at this point. Patricia suggested maybe everyone needed time to process emotions before moving forward. Robert added that he'd keep the documents on file for when I came to my senses. I left. As I was walking out, Sarah called after me, "I already told my friends I was moving downtown. How am I supposed to explain this?" The text started within an hour. "Mom, your father is so disappointed. He's talking about changing his will." "Dad, I showed you listings in good neighborhoods. Stop being dramatic." "Sarah, can we at least talk about me renting it below market rate?" "Aunt Linda, your mother called me in tears. Fix this." "Unknown number, lawyer, your family asked me to send the documents in case you want to review them privately. No pressure. My girlfriend thinks I should go no contact for a while. My best friend offered his couch if I need space from the insanity. I'm sitting in my apartment, looking at the view I worked so hard for, wondering how my family became these people. Or maybe they were always like this and I just didn't have anything worth taking before." Update 2 weeks later. The situation has somehow gotten worse. I've been limiting contact with my family, only responding to actual emergencies. But they've escalated in ways I couldn't have imagined. First, Sarah showed up at my apartment building last Tuesday. The doorman called up, and I reluctantly let her in. She had a measuring tape, fabric samples, and a notebook. Before I could say anything, she started measuring my living room window, talking about how the morning light will be perfect for her plants. I asked what she was doing. She said since I was still processing the transition, she wanted to get a head start on planning. She'd brought paint samples because my current color scheme was too masculine, and she wanted something more professional young woman. I told her to leave. She accused me of being cruel, then asked if she could at least take photos for her vision board. When I said no, she started crying, saying I was ruining her graduation joy and making this so much harder than it needs to be. That weekend, my parents attempted what I can only call an intervention. They invited me to lunch at a restaurant. When I arrived, I found them sitting with my Uncle Michael, Mom's brother, Aunt Patricia, Dad's sister, and my grandmother. Grandma looked confused about why she was there. My mom started, "James, we're all here because we love you and we're concerned about the person you're becoming." They went around the table sharing their concerns. "Uncle Michael, your parents supported you through school, they didn't, and now you won't help your sister." "Aunt Patricia, in our family, we lift each other up. You're spitting on that tradition." "Dad, I've never been more ashamed. What happened to my generous son?" "Mom, you're choosing property over people. That's not how we raised you." My grandmother, bless her, seemed to catch on and asked, "What exactly do you want James to do?" When they explained I should give Sarah my apartment, she laughed. Actually laughed. She said, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. James, keep your home." My mom immediately suggested Grandma was confused and didn't understand modern family dynamics. I left the lunch. The next day, I got a call from my building's management office. Someone had called pretending to be me, asking about the process for adding someone to a deed. The office was calling to verify it was actually me. It wasn't. Then things got really weird. Sarah changed her social media profiles to list her location as my neighborhood. She's been posting photos from coffee shops and restaurants near my building, tagging them as exploring my new area and can't wait to be a downtown girl. Friends started congratulating her on the big move. When people asked about her new place, she'd reply with things like, "It's a family situation. My brother is being so generous," with prayer hands emojis. She's created this whole narrative online that the transfer is happening. My girlfriend Rachel has been my rock through this. She's helped me document everything in case I need it later. She also pointed out something I hadn't considered. My parents might be having financial troubles. She noticed they've been selling things on Facebook Marketplace, and my mom mentioned canceling their annual vacation. I did some digging. Turns out my dad's company downsized his department. He's still employed but took a significant pay cut. They refinanced their house last year. Sarah's college was more expensive than they planned, and she has no job lined up yet. So this isn't just about launching Sarah. They literally can't afford to help her with housing, so they've decided I should sacrifice mine. Yesterday was the breaking point. I came home from work to find a note on my door from building management. Someone had scheduled a walkthrough of my unit, claiming to be a family member taking over the lease. Management shut it down when they couldn't provide proper authorization, but they wanted me to know. I called my parents. My dad answered and immediately said, "Oh good, you're ready to be reasonable." Me, "Did you try to schedule a showing of my apartment?" Dad, "Sarah needed to see it properly to plan her move." Me, "There is no move. This is harassment." Dad, "Harassment? We're your parents. We're trying to help you do the right thing." Me, "I'm considering a restraining order." Dad, "Against your own family? You'd traumatize your mother like that." Me, "You're traumatizing me." Dad, "You have no idea what trauma is. You live in your fancy apartment while we struggle." Me, "While you struggle? What happened to, you can easily afford another place?" Dad, "Silence." Me, "This was never about Sarah deserving a good start. This is about you not being able to provide one." Dad, "How dare you?" I hung up. I've contacted a lawyer. Not for anything specific yet, but to understand my options if this escalates further. I've also informed my building security about the situation. They have photos of my family members now and instructions not to let them up without my explicit permission. Rachel thinks they're going to escalate one more time before either accepting reality or going nuclear. I'm hoping for the former but preparing for the latter. I've changed my locks. Even though building security is good, I'm paranoid now. Put a camera on my door and made sure all my important documents are secure. I still can't believe this is my life. 3 weeks ago, my biggest worry was a work deadline. Now I'm essentially in a cold war with my entire family over an apartment I bought with my own money. The thing that hurts most. Not once has anyone asked how I'm doing. Not once has anyone acknowledged that I worked hard for what I have. It's just assumed that I should hand it over because, family. Update 3 months later. This will be my final update. I've debated whether to write this, but I figured those who followed my story deserve to know how it ended. Spoiler alert, it's not how anyone expected. After my last post, things went quiet for about 2 weeks. I thought maybe my family had finally accepted reality. I should have known better. They were just regrouping. The next contact came through my work email. Sarah had applied for a job at my company and listed me as a reference. The hiring manager, who knows me well, forwarded it to me with a question mark. I looked at her application. Under current address, she'd listed my apartment. Under her cover letter, she'd written about being excited to join the company where my brother has been so successful, especially since we'll be sharing living arrangements to support each other. I had to have an awkward conversation with HR, explaining that no, my sister wouldn't be living with me, and I couldn't provide a reference. Sarah didn't get an interview. That evening, my mom called from a number I didn't recognize. She was sobbing, saying Sarah was devastated about the job and it was my fault for sabotaging her future after already stealing her home. I reminded her that it was never Sarah's home. She hung up on me. Then came the certified letter from a lawyer. Not the real estate attorneys from before, an actual litigation attorney. My family was formally demanding I either transfer the apartment or pay Sarah equivalent support of $400,000, claiming promissory estoppel because Sarah had relied on the promise of housing and turned down other opportunities. I laughed. Then I called my lawyer. Here's where it gets interesting. My lawyer did some digging and found that Sarah hadn't turned down any job opportunities. She hadn't received any offers. She'd barely applied anywhere, telling friends she was waiting to secure housing before committing to employment. She'd also taken out additional student loans her senior year, which my parents co-signed, apparently planning to pay them off once she sold her downtown apartment after a few years. They were literally banking on my apartment as their financial plan. My lawyer sent a cease and desist letter, making it clear that any further harassment would result in legal action. He also pointed out that their promissory estoppel claim was baseless since I never promised anything. 2 days later, my dad showed up at my office. Security called me down. He looked terrible, unshaven, wrinkled clothes. He started yelling in the lobby about how I was destroying the family and letting greed corrupt my soul. Security escorted him out. My company has a zero-tolerance policy for this kind of thing, so now he's banned from the premises. That night, I got a call from my grandmother. She'd been reading all the family Facebook posts and was disgusted. She told me something I didn't know. Apparently, my parents had been telling the extended family that I'd agreed to give Sarah the apartment months ago and was now backing out, making me look like the villain who broke a promise. Grandma set the record straight in a blistering Facebook post of her own, calling out my parents for trying to steal from one child to give to another and raising an entitled princess who expects handouts. The family erupted. Sides were taken. It was ugly. But here's the twist that changed everything. Last month, I was contacted by someone named Jennifer. She's 35, lives across the country, and she's my half-sister. My dad had an affair before I was born, and Jennifer was the result. He's been sending her money for years, not court-ordered support, but guilt money to keep her quiet. She reached out because she'd been watching the family drama unfold on social media. She follows us all under a fake name, and couldn't stay quiet anymore. She sent me screenshots of years of messages from my dad, including recent ones where he complained about having to support multiple children and how it was bleeding him dry. So while my parents were demanding I give Sarah my apartment because family helps family, my dad had a whole other daughter he'd been financially supporting in secret. The hypocrisy was staggering. I met Jennifer for coffee. She flew in to meet me. She's lovely. A teacher, married, 2 kids. She showed me bank records. My dad had been sending her $1,000 a month for the past 5 years. Do the math. That's $60,000 that could have gone towards Sarah's housing or their own retirement. I decided not to expose this immediately. Instead, I asked for a final family meeting. Everyone came, parents, Sarah, even the aunts and uncles who'd inserted themselves into this drama. I said I had something important to share about family values and sacrifice. I started by asking my dad to explain again why family should help family. He gave his speech about obligation, love, and legacy. Then I asked him to define family. He looked confused but said, those we're bound to by blood and marriage. That's when Jennifer walked in. The room exploded. My mom went white. My dad tried to leave, but Jennifer asked him loudly why he was running from family. Sarah, for once, was speechless. The aunts and uncles just stared. Jennifer introduced herself, explained the situation, and said she was tired of being the family's dirty secret. She turned to my parents and said, if James should give up his home for family, what should you give up for me? My mom started crying, not manipulation tears, real tears. My dad just kept saying, this isn't the time, over and over. Sarah finally found her voice and screamed at Dad about the money that could have been her apartment fund. In the chaos, I stood up and said, this is what happens when you treat family as a bank account instead of relationships. Dad, you've been supporting your secret daughter while demanding I bankrupt myself for the daughter you claim to support. Mom, you enabled this by turning a blind eye. Sarah, you felt entitled to my home because you've been taught that family means taking, not giving. I love my family, but I won't enable this dysfunction anymore. My apartment is mine. It will stay mine. If that makes me selfish, so be it. But at least I'm honest about what I have and what I won't give up. Jennifer, you're welcome in my life if you want to be. The rest of you need to figure out what family really means to you. I left. That was 6 weeks ago. The aftermath. And my parents are getting divorced. Mom moved in with her sister temporarily. Sarah is living at home, working retail while applying for marketing jobs. She's blocked me on everything. And my dad tried to contest Grandma's will changes. She's leaving more to me now, but that's going nowhere. Jennifer and I text regularly. It's weird but nice having a sister who doesn't want my apartment. Rachel and I are stronger than ever. She's moving in next month, paying rent. We have a written agreement because I've learned my lesson about assumptions. The extended family is split. Some think I went too far in exposing Dad. Others think it was karma. Most are just glad the drama is over. I still have my apartment. I still have my sanity, mostly. I've lost some family relationships, but I've gained clarity about what matters to me. And I've learned that sometimes, the best gift you can give someone is letting them stand on their own 2 feet. To everyone who said, "Don't give up your apartment," you were right. To those who said it would destroy my family, you were also right. But sometimes things need to break before they can be rebuilt properly. I'm done updating. Time to live my life in my apartment, drama-free. Final thoughts. Looking back, the signs were always there. The different standards, the expectations, the entitlement. It took them trying to take my home for me to see it clearly. If you're in a similar situation, trust your gut. You're not crazy, you're not selfish, and you don't owe anyone your hard-earned success. Thanks for following along on this wild ride. May your families be sane and your apartments be your own.